Hello, good evening. Hope you can all hear me. I see many names, not too many cameras on, but I know there are all these beautiful faces here. So thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here. My name is Amber Roniger, and I will be your facilitator for this evening's session. And this is fasting, preparing the body for spiritual practice. First, I want to say I truly commend you for making time in your busy lives to take care of you. Everything we're going to discuss this evening is offered with the sincere motivation and intention of spreading wisdom, health, and abundance to all beings without exception. It's wonderful to see familiar and new faces in the gallery, and hopefully we'll see more people popping up as we go. I want to introduce my very special guest, Reverend Dr. Jude, who you'll meet in a little bit. I'm here with her in beautiful Costa Rica, which is one of the world's blue zones, which means people live to very old age with low incidence of chronic disease because of the pura vida, the pure air, water, soil, and lifestyle here. It's a real thing. Dr. Jude has a master's degree in nursing and 2 PhDs, one in natural medicine and one educational psychology. She has 40 years of experience helping people make their own medicine out of food, attitude, and exercise. She's an expert in the importance of cleansing the body both inside and out. When she was 50 years old, she broke her back after being thrown from a horse, and after life-saving surgery made a miraculous natural recovery. She has been overseeing my personal cleansing retreat since December, consisting of a simple, beautiful, detoxifying diet and daily colonics. I've done more than 80 colonics since December, and I feel less full of shit than I have in my entire life. Welcome, Dr. Jude. It's so awesome to have you here. On a little housekeeping note, Noelle is here behind the scenes, keeping everything running smoothly with her wonderful invisible hands. So if you're having an issue, hopefully you don't, or have a question, please try to chat Noelle directly and she will do her best. And thank you, Noelle, you're a rock star and I mean it. I mean it. So the purpose of this gathering is to introduce you to a 3-day liquid cleanse we're calling the Daily Dharma Diet, which Dr. Jude and I created together, which will help you prepare your body for focused spiritual practice, including sitting meditation, fasting, and prostrations. We'll watch a short video clip from naturopath Dr. Eli Morales, who presented a talk about the liquid cleansing basics found in phase 1 of the Whole Life Elimination Diet to our Sangha exactly 1 year ago as we prepared for our first mini Malnam. I highly recommend going to my YouTube channel and seeing the whole video if you haven't already, and we will post it in the chat and share it afterward. We'll do a Q&A at the end of the session, as well as announce upcoming events. And on that note of upcoming events, everyone who would like to cleanse in community with us, please join as we come together next week for a virtual 3-day liquid cleanse to educate, learn, and support one another in our personal healing journeys. Our community cleanse will be next Thursday through Saturday, March 17 through 19, and it is part of our 24-hour Green Tara Mini Malnam Prayer Festival. And if anyone doesn't know what that means and they want to know, we can talk about it in the Q&A, or you could email me and ask. So the Mini Malnam Prayer Festival is the perfect opportunity to cleanse your body, speech, and mind in community. So the purpose of this type of liquid cleanse or fast is to consume nutrients that lower inflammation in the body so the digestive system can rest. And when sustained over time, this can net the same health benefits as water fasting. So this can net the same health benefits as water-only fasting, but in a more gentle and gradual way. So you can work and do your busy life thing, but you can receive the health and mind training benefits of fasting. It's pretty cool. This type of liquid cleanse is an antidote to our increasingly toxic world of aggravated sensitivities, allergies, and new diseases, and lays the perfect groundwork for elevating our spiritual practice in a natural and life-sustaining way. And I just want to say that I don't believe COVID is quite done with humans yet, and strengthening your immune system right now is the best gift you could give yourself. And so, relying on the wisdom of the 3 jewels, these 3 essential elements are equally as important in all endeavors. Buddha, our teachers and guides, Dharma, the path of our teachings, and Sangha, our spiritual community or support. This is us. So I believe that our likely to success is greatly increased if we can access these three things. So information, hopefully to give rise to insights, knowledge, and wisdom, resources or access, and motivation or inspiration. So this evening's program is my attempt to provide inspiration and motivation to support your health and spiritual practices. So you are here, we are here, you found your way here because you know that in order to have an excellent meditation practice where your mind is at ease, your body first needs to be at ease, needs to be free of pain and discomfort, light, energetic, vital, but calm and grounded in order for your mind to settle and for insights to arise. Order does matter. Always build your house from the foundation up. And we all know why the metaphor, put on your own oxygen mask first before you attempt to assist anyone else, is so apropos. So let's try to remember this as we start to prioritize our own health and then see how it reflects so wonderfully on the people around us. So we know that humans have used refined nutrition, fasting, and internal cleansing with spiritual and religious practices throughout human history. Fasting for increased vitality and good health can be traced back to the 5th century to Hippocrates, the father of medicine. And at the time, he was already prescribing food abstinence or fasting to his patients. Fasting as a religious practice continues to be used by Christians, Buddhists, Jews, and Muslims, as we all know. And as a Buddhist practitioner myself, I have seen the folly of practitioners thrown into spiritual fasting with absolutely zero preparation or instructions on how to fast healthfully in a way that supports heightened spiritual practice, especially in a way that can be maintained over time. The first time Kempo, my first Buddhist teacher, told me to fast, as a good student, I did what I was told and fasted during the workday. Predictably, I developed a caffeine migraine pretty quickly and had to stop fasting halfway through. Of course, I felt like a bad student and a failed Buddhist who couldn't follow simple instructions for one single day. But I will say that I did have the wisdom, perhaps the gall, to tell Kempo that this was clearly not the right path for me. In hindsight, I realized he didn't give me any instructions at all. So of course I was set up for failure. Some years later, I got a call from a fellow Buddhist practitioner who needed me to pick him up at the psych ward. He'd gotten really into his prostration practice. For those who don't know, prostrations are something like sun salutations for Tibetan Buddhists. It's both exercise and spiritual practice. So he'd gotten super into his practice. He started feeling wonderful, stopped taking his medication, came to practice at the monastery, became manic, and did not sleep for days. So then he called 911 on himself because he needed to get back on his meds, which were in Boston, but the monastery was in New York, because he had been feeling so wonderful. Now, I'm not trying to scare anyone away from spiritual practice or blame the monks or blame any of our teachers for their inability to recognize mental illness or any other obstacles we may be facing. Quite the contrary, this is about taking responsibility for ourselves. I'm building a bridge where I see a major gap in understanding. This is my main motivation for creating this intervention. I do label it an intervention. As spiritual practitioners of every tradition, we need safe, effective, natural, proven tools to help us cleanse and fast in a way that supports our practice, that doesn't detract or even worse, curtail our practice because we were thrown into something we were not ready for. And so we are gathered here today to share tools and methods and support systems and protocols for nutrition and internal cleansing that we can all use to improve our spiritual practice, but also, awesome, our physical health and emotional and mental well-being. So our upcoming Green Tara Mini Malnam Prayer Festival is the perfect opportunity to gather together virtually, to aspire, to pray, and cleanse our body, speech, and mind together in community. So the whole life elimination diet, I've mentioned this once or twice. So this is a protocol, it's a diet, it's a method I've personally lived by to the letter for the past 3 years, prescribed by my naturopath, Dr. Miraculous, and it continues to be completely life-altering for me. For anyone out there is interested in a deep dive into their own nutrition and cleansing, Dr. Jude and I would love to help you create a personalized health plan or personalized health retreat that fits your lifestyle and specific needs. And that's what the whole life elimination diet is all about. It's about personalized for your specific needs. But for now, I just want to share a tiny little bit about my story and my connection to these practices. So this was me exactly 3 years ago. Some of you may have known me at age 46, before I began to cleanse. I was always a natural athlete. I was a vegetarian since the age of 14 and vegan for about 3/4 of a decade at that point, I guess 6 or 7 years. And I ate mostly organic, but I kept expanding and gaining weight and becoming more and more inflamed. And I really needed to change course. And I had suffered a lifetime of undiagnosed and underdiagnosed food allergies and sensitivities. So I was born lactose intolerant. So I was given formula at age 0 in the 70s, which was a powdered soy mix of some kind. Of course, it turns out I'm also allergic to soy, but I didn't self-diagnose that until 3 years ago. But at age 4, I began renouncing foods that I found unappealing for a variety of reasons, most notably chopped liver and boiled tongue, both Jewish delicacies. And at age 14, I became vegetarian in solidarity with a friend who is now the Boston Globe food critic, ironically. But I do believe I was lucky to exit the meat market. This would have been in 1986, before it became totally spoiled and contaminated by antibiotics and GMOs and factory farming. And now in this age of mega agribusiness, laboratories make food for people instead of being grown in soil on farms. As an interesting side note, at age 5, I was taken off soy, put back on dairy because I didn't have a soy allergy anymore, according to the doctor. And at this time, I began suffering chronic ear infections and strep throat, of course, caused by the dairy intake and its effects on my poor little body. So in response, my doctor overprescribed antibiotics. So a vicious cycle was starting to take form. Then when I stopped eating meat at age 14, I seriously upped my dairy intake, and then my skin issues truly exploded. So I was put on Accutane to deal with the acne, which made me depressed, which led to emotional eating of dairy. So you can start to draw a map of my destructive relationship with food. And I would then compensate by buying poisons marketed to teenagers, things with benzoyl peroxide. That and any other chemical pretty much turns my skin to sandpaper, like really scary. I dream about it, which is it's not a good look. So I would say that denying interdependence was an extremely painful lesson for me for a very long time. Of course, as a kid, I used the products that my parents bought. So these were chemically based shampoos and conditioners, and I would scratch my head to infection. It was horrible and embarrassing. And now I only wash my hair like twice a month, and it seems like a miracle, but it's not a miracle. It's just taking the time to research myself, figure out the protocols that work for me, and then rigorously implementing them on a daily basis. So some years ago when I was in my 30s, and I was broke and in a toxic personal relationship, I scored myself a trip to the emergency room with full body hives, thanks to generic laundry detergent I purchased at the dollar store. So wonderful. It turns out that I'm extremely histamine sensitive. Yes, I have a type. Thank goodness I have a type. I'm not like a total freak like I always thought. There are others like me. There are things I could do. In the past, I could return from dinner at a vegan restaurant with like a growing cystic zit on my neck, and I felt like I had done something wrong. Like I was over emotional, my hormones were rushing, and I had caused it. And so I never looked for the true culprit. I never considered karma, cause, condition, and effect. I just went emotional and short-circuited and didn't trace the true root of the problem. So now that the world is catching up to the vegan revolution, there really are soy products everywhere, and they're not necessarily healthful. They're definitely not helpful for me. So it's something I avoid 100%. So in addition to my previous soy addiction, which I substituted for my dairy addiction, I was deep into seitan products. So seitan, if you don't know, it's delicious wheat meat. So that also gave me an inflammatory response. Yes, allergic to wheat too. So awesome. And because I wasn't a Dharma practitioner, instead of looking at the root causes, seeing the reality, I would blame myself And these childhood myths about heightened hormones and being too emotional persisted into adulthood. And it can keep us from earnest contemplation of serious problems. It did for me well, until 3 years ago, which is really sad, but there it is. At one point in my 30s, when I had good health insurance, I did go and try to get a workup to get a handle on suspected food allergies and sensitivities. But the doctor was so pervy and handsy and spittly that I didn't go back for my results. Lame. And I do suspect this type of experience is all too common for women. But the more we empower ourselves with information and the more time we spend researching ourselves, the less we have to deal with this type of yaya. So sadly, I never attempted to look seriously at my food allergies until 3 years ago, when I just could not stand myself anymore. My weight had topped out at 176. I was totally inflamed, and I was trying to unwind from yet another toxic personal relationship, and it was the perfect time for major change. And I'm not really trying to bore you with the details of my medical history, but to show you that without curiosity into the nature of our own problems and useful tools that help us move forward, we can stay in the suffering for a really long time. And I don't really think any of us is trying to do that. So if we cannot find a way out of our own victim consciousness, and I was deeply invested in my victim consciousness, blaming everyone, and start living by the laws of karma, cause, condition, and effect, life can become a very vicious cycle of blame and sadness, where root causes are not identified and problems proliferate. I would say I'm lucky that I've always had a healthy skepticism of the medical profession. And so I continue to find ways to empower myself and nurture my own radiant health in natural ways. Noelle, please advance to slide 3. So working with Dr. Eli and the Whole Life Elimination Diet opens so many doors. I'm so happy to be turning 50 this year and in the best shape of my life. And I mean it. I know everyone, 50 and nifty, but I feel wonderful. And I would say that a lifetime of suffering led me here now to this moment. So I wouldn't give it back and I wouldn't trade it. But I do aspire that my suffering can help alleviate or prevent some suffering in others. This is what we call the Bodhisattva vow, and it's part of my Buddhist training, and I will do my best. Noelle, please advance to slide 4. So once I started working with Dr. Eli and stepped outside of my own victim consciousness, I started living within the realm of responsibility instead of blame. And I stepped into unlimited possibility, or emptiness, which you may hear that Dharma term a lot. And that has made all the difference. Noelle, please advance to slide 5. So when I started working with Dr. Eli, improving my diet and lifestyle, I honestly had no idea that it would impact my spiritual life. I had moved away from New York City several years prior, away from a toxic environment, and I was living close to the monastery, but I woke up too exhausted to join the morning puja at 6 a.m. I simply lacked the energy. And it's the green Tara puja. I really wanted to. I just could not get my business together. But after changing my diet and starting to wrestle seriously for the first time with my issues with food, which for me is overeating and emotional eating, in addition to all the sensitivities and allergies and eating at the wrong time, my whole body clock reset. I stopped eating naturally at 6 p.m. for the day, allowing ample time for my body to rest and digest. I woke naturally at 4 a.m., colon ready to empty and feeling energized. This heightened energy led me to start training a fellow Tara dancer at 5 a.m. every morning. We met virtually for a half hour, and then I would go up the hill, spend an hour in the 6 a.m. green Tara puja, go home, putter around, and then start my workday at 9 a.m. So I began to understand why monastics in retreats have their last meal at noon and rise at 4 a.m. for practice. Early to bed without heavy food in their bellies leads to early to rise with the vibrant energy in the morning, naturally. It's all part of the body's natural intelligence when we get out of our own way and follow nature. So with this heightened spiritual practice and clean diet, insights were starting to arise, and I was starting to feel really good, meaning mentally and physically, probably for the first time in my life. Noelle, please advance to slide 6. All this attention to my health and well-being led effortlessly to a beautiful morning spiritual practice where I pray, chant, sing, and dance, and support the practice of others. Spending time doing the things I've always wanted to do in the morning, but never had the vitality for, let alone in any kind of sustained way. It's so uplifting, and I'm constantly inspired by these endeavors. And it's so awesome to have a great reason to get up every morning. I would just like to mention, and not casually, that I find it extremely distressing that the female beauty market in America was developed as a post-World War II dumping ground for toxic poisons, developed for chemical warfare. We must work to change this now and move all people toward a philosophy of relying on nature for healing instead of toxic poisons. But that is food for our next talk. But you can almost forget about that in a place like Costa Rica, where the national philosophy encourages a natural lifestyle. You can probably hear the monkeys, and the cultivation of food and products free of life-robbing toxic chemicals and poisons. Noelle, please advance to slide 7. And for those of us who don't know, we dance in community on Zoom every morning at 8:15 Eastern. Everyone is welcome, and we'll share the Zoom info in the chat later on. So without further ado, and in order to help cut through the noise of all the misinformation out there, provide excellent proven information that has helped so many people, including me, I'm going to play a portion of Dr. Eli's video, which is an introduction to the basics of phase 1, which is the liquid cleansing portion of the whole life elimination diet.
Phase 1, I'm just going to focus on a little bit more detail here because you're going to be doing a little bit of a phase 1, getting ready for your community activity. And so I'm going to focus on that more, but I will go through all the phases and show you the document a little bit more shortly. So you have just an overview of it. But in this phase 1, it was designed as a real detoxification phase that begins to calm the immune system and clear the gut. By only having liquids that are prepared by you, homemade stocks, little soups, and then vegetable smoothies or juices, you're eliminating the most common irritants or any that you definitely know irritate you. And then you're giving your digestion a rest by having these foods basically masticated, cooked and blended. So it's very easy for the digestion to digest them, break them down, and then absorb them into the body. And so when that process is happening, there's less energy given to digestion and more energy given to repair in other systems of the body. A small example here of what phase 1 looks like is you're starting your day with a green smoothie, maybe 2 cups of that. Then you have an early lunch with a quart of pureed vegetable soup, and then 2 to 4 cups of fresh vegetable juice for an afternoon snack, and then a bowl of pureed vegetable soup for dinner. And I'm going to go over how that's going to feel. And there might be people in this group who can talk about their experiences initially, but it's an important component of this because it really helps prep the body for the next stages. And then you can see here, you can have herbal teas. Excuse me. I just had dinner myself. Purified water, fresh coconut water throughout the day is kind of like a snack, but you really want to stick to liquids only. A lot of people have fear of doing something like this because of what they hear are the side effects. And for me, what I've seen in patients and experienced myself, I'm actually doing this cleanse right now. I'm in the elimination phase, and the common side effects are the ones that you see here. And I put anxiety in there. It doesn't mean you get new anxiety, but people are worried that they feel hungry or they are more irritable, and that creates anxiety. And so I always put that one in there. But the others are definitely more common. A sense of fatigue, you're not getting as many calories, the irritability because you're not getting that sugar snack that you like, hunger certainly because your stomach is usually accustomed to expanding, and when it's not expanding as much, the brain sends out signals that it's like, oh, we need more food to expand more. So you get that feeling of hunger. Plus you're taking less calories, so the brain's a little, it's like, hey, what's happening? We need more. And you can get headaches, and that often can happen from just a detoxification effect where suddenly toxins are being cleared from the body and they're getting dumped into the system, and the system reacts with a little bit more inflammation, and you can get a headache from that. But this should not last very long, because in 1 to 2 days, you're eating full foods again, okay, more solid foods. All right, so the common pitfalls, though, that I see, and I always like to really, this is the part, there's all this information I'm about to share with you, and I have shared, but this is what I really like to counsel my patients about is, what are the common pitfalls, things that get in the way, the hurdles to completing this successfully? And that's what I coach you through. So the first one we have is not taking the time to prepare your kitchen. Some people enter this and they don't realize, oh, I need a cutting board, or I'm going to be preparing all my meals, make sure I have all the implements I need, kitchen utensils, blenders, cutting boards, pots, pans, food in the kitchen that you're going to cook with, being prepared that way. So I always tell people you need at least a week of preparing before you begin, of preparing your physical space around you. And that really means that you are able to prepare the food you're going to take, or else you're going to be very hungry and cranky and you'll just jump off the boat. The next one is not taking the time to prepare your body. This one comes from just, actually saying, all right, is my body prepared to do this? Am I about to run a marathon? Am I relaxed enough? Do I have other demands on me that aren't going to allow my body to deal with the hunger I might feel right away, or the irritability I'm going to feel from not getting my snacks that I usually have? So I always encourage people to make sure that their body feels safe and prepared in a comfortable place to go through this process. Not taking time to prepare your mind can also be, so you're not thinking about these pitfalls, not thinking about the side effects, like not realizing, so I'm going to be feeling anxious and hungry. What could I be doing instead of like just pacing around in the kitchen? I could be, get the books out that I want to read. I could get that puzzle out that I want to do. I could journal, especially, is really important. More meditation, so it takes the time to prepare the mind to really get ready to take this on. And part of that is also thinking about your goals. Like, why do I want to do this? Really be committed to this process. One day it might be hard enough for some people, and I think it's a really good idea to practice. But then when you actually enter into it, you want to be present. You want to know this is something you want for yourself. So you really do want to picture that perfect outcome. Don't just enter into it not knowing where you're going. You know where you're going. I want to be, spiritually in my body and mindfully have ease, contentment, and freedom at the end. I want to be acne free. I want my allergies to be gone. I want to be, have as much energy as I did when I was younger. You need to set that goal for yourself so that you can head that way. If you don't know where you're going, or if you're skeptical, I don't recommend trying this. Not taking the time to prepare your spirit is also a common pitfall. This isn't quite fasting, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later, but in fasting, you can have some profound spiritual experiences when you're doing this, but this is enough of a spiritual experience that you might meet yourself in new ways that you didn't realize. And I'll leave it at that. And so I just want to say, I guess I'm not leaving it at that, have a discussion with yourself, and not just, and so this is different than the mind and the body, but have that discussion with yourself that desires with that pure self, that you want to bring that out more. You want to engage that part of you that is your spirit, and bring that along into this process as well.
So again, I strongly encourage you to go to my YouTube channel and watch the whole talk. It's awesome. Dr. Eli is amazing and very gentle, thoughtful soul. So I just love the whole talk. It's really wonderful. So now you have a little bit of a basis of our starting point for the 3-day liquid cleanse. So built on this basis of the whole life elimination diet and other wisdom traditions, Dr. Jude and I created our comprehensive step-by-step 3-day daily Dharma diet menu. So here's what it consists ideally of: is homemade organic smoothies, soups, and juices. But we also put in meditative music, gentle exercises, cleansing and healing practices, and provocative stream of consciousness writing assignments, but tiny little ones. So no stress. And these will all support your healing journey, and we'll share in a little bit after Dr. Jude does some talking. So Just to state the obvious, that your diet includes everything that goes in and out of your body, speech, and mind, because it's all connected. And over these 3 days, you will nutrify simply, ingesting moderate amounts of food that combine well together while not combining too many foods at once. Choose organic whenever you can. Eating organic means no pesticides being sprayed in our food, getting into the air, the soil, the water, then being pooped out by us and further toxifying the environment. And it also means supporting small local farms, not industrial agriculture, which is less environmental problems from mass tillage of soil. So take the time, get to know yourself, and get real about your relationship with food and how you relate to your own body. Research yourself every day. You have unique genetics, health conditions, lifestyle factors, environmental stressors that change how your body will respond to the foods you eat, even like from one day to the next or year to year. For women, definitely, we swing. So you need to check in with yourself regularly by logging all your nutrient intake and cleansing rituals daily. I do this, I still do this. What time do I wake up, and what cleansing practices and what food and how much, and my moon cycle and my exercise, and you start to see all the connections to your mood. So it's really cool. But right now, Dr. Jude is going to share her own brand of wisdom about how to cleanse your body, both inside and out, based on her vast experience in the medical field and her knowledge about alternative healing modalities. So many good ones: massage, acupuncture, dietary planning, colon irrigation. There are probably more, but those I know of. And among other things, Dr. Jude will break down the specifics of our 3-day menu for the virtual cleanse next week. And then we'll do our best to answer any questions you may have. And I'm so happy to be sharing this screen with Dr. Jude. Take it away, Dr. Jude.
Okay, welcome everybody. So nice to see familiar faces and loved ones and new people. I'm going to open with the Goddess Invocation by Starhawk. Everything lost is found again in a new form, in a new way. Everything hurt is healed again in a new time, in a new day. Change is, touch is, touch is, change is. Change us, touch us, touch us, change us. It has been my greatest honor to help people, including Amber, learn just how full of shit they really are. This is really about self-love and taking care of yourself and taking care of your shit and loving your shit. So let's start with just defining some basic concepts. The digestive elimination system. So I kind of made that up. There are 12 systems of the body, and I am calling the digestive elimination system 1. I combined 2 there. The digestive system alone is the largest system in the body, anatomy-wise and physiology. The small intestine, where most of our digestion occurs, is 22 feet long. The colon, where the elimination of solid waste occurs, is 5 feet long and 3 inches wide. And the functions of the digestive and elimination system we will get into in great detail, but they're obviously very connected. All the other body systems are dependent upon our digestive and elimination system and very intimately connected, such as the immune system, our central nervous system, that includes our brain, our spinal cord, all the nerves in our body, and the fluids circulating in the nerves, up and down the spine, in the brain. The cardiovascular system includes our heart, our lungs, all our blood vessels. the reproductive system, the sensory system, skeletal system, muscular system, endocrine system, urinary, and skin are all affected by what's going on with your digestion and elimination. Now, this is a natural health view that malnutrition is the cause of all disease. People are ill because they're eating too much of the wrong things, not enough of good things. Allergy testing shows most often people's favorite foods are allergens, meaning we can spend our whole life eating cravings that we're actually allergic to. I define natural health as making medicine out of diet, exercise, and attitude. The great leader Gandhi said, at the first sign of any illness, fast on lemon water. Here we see the connection to the immune system. So the digestive system, the digestive elimination system, has two functions, nourishing and cleansing. And here's the big deal. They don't happen at the same time. The nourishing is yang, our eating, our doing, our living, our running around, being awake. That's when we're supposed to be nourishing. That's when our body wants to nourish. During our sleeping time, resting, meditation, healing, this is when the body's cleansing. We're only healing, as a matter of fact, when we're relaxed. We're only cleansing when we're deeply relaxed and not digesting and not doing. Okay, we're going to consider cleansing and fasting to be equal in the purpose of our talk and our time together. When we say cleansing, we're also talking about fasting. Fasting and cleansing, however, is not equal to starving yourself. Any kind of fast should be nutrient rich and hydrate from both ends, all orifices. Now, the Hindu religion gave us the beautiful wisdom of yoga, and we have the sacred holy water cleansing methods that are thousands of years old, long before the invention of plastic tubing. Yogis figured out how to wash out their colon, their stomach, their nose, ears, etc. We've already had someone ask us if they should fast when they have broken a bone. And I said, no. You should wait 2 years after a broken bone or a major surgery before you fast. Usually after an accident or a surgery, the body kind of puts you on a fast initially. But once your appetite returns, you should nourish. But you can cleanse. And what this means is eating to support your elimination. I'm going to explain more about that. Even on a pristine diet, our body makes metabolic waste in every cell. Without a daily focus on elimination and internal cleansing, buildup happens. The colon becomes lined with debris that can become very, very hard. When I was learning this material, the most famous story came out of India, and it was over 100 years ago. A woman, upon autopsy, was found to have her colon was expanded to 9 inches in diameter with a pencil-size opening through which the food and waste products was passing. Eventually, all blood vessels and tubes become lined with this catarrh or plaque or slime. The same plaque, catarrh slime, is the same stuff that causes coronary artery disease, gallstones, kidney stones, periodontal disease. The vitamins from our food begin to not be able to get into the bloodstream, and the waste products begin to not be able to get out of the blood and out of the body. So essentially, all the fluids in the body become pee and poop and ick. This is what it means to be toxic. Now, people say to me, oh, I'm not constipated and I don't need to cleanse because I have diarrhea. Now, I hope you can see how wrong this picture is. Almost all diarrhea, if it's on your daily basis and you haven't been food poisoned or have the flu, okay? Almost always diarrhea in that case means your food is just passing through this coating that's lining your guts. So to detoxify, you absolutely have to clean your colon first. And you can only clean the colon by fasting. We're going to talk a lot more about what I mean by that. After you get your colon clean, then you can target organs, tissues, and cells. Once you get yourself clean, you can stay clean with the daily fast, healthy diet, and exercise and attitude, and regular colon cleansing. For example, you might do a 3-day cleanse like we're going to do next weekend together. You might do that twice a year or seasonally, or maybe you want to once a year go on a 2-week cleanse. You see what I mean? You get to work it out, but that's after you get yourself clean, and it takes time. Dr. Jensen described a healing process. Now, they believe that we replace all of our trillions of cells every 7 years. So Dr. Jensen's idea was that if you would begin to turn yourself around, that you could have a complete recovery in 7 years. You would have all new cells, all clean fluids. I'm going to read you a beautiful poem from beloved Rumi, the famous 12th century Sufi poet. There's a hidden sweetness in the stomach's emptiness. We are lutes, no more, no less. If the sound box is stuffed full of anything, no music. If the brain and the belly are burning clear with fasting, every moment a new song out of the fire. The fog clears and new energy makes you run up the steps in front of you. Be emptier and cry like reed instruments cry. Emptier, write secrets with the reed pen. When you're full of food and drink, an ugly metal statue sits where your spirit should. When you fast, good habits gather like friends who want to help. Fasting is Solomon's ring. Don't give in to some illusion and lose your power. But even if you have, if you've lost all will and control, they come back when you fast, like soldiers appearing out of the ground, pennants flying above them. A table descends to your tents, Jesus's table. Expect to see it when you fast. This table spread with other food, better than the broth of cabbage. I get a kick out of that last line, because we don't usually think of broth of cabbage as something so delicious. But that's one of the secrets about fasting, is that when you completely eliminate junk food from your diet, your palate can become very refined and you can appreciate the most delicate broths. So this is an ad I found that I liked because of the pictures. We have a healthy colon and a cranky, clogged colon. And it says that the people who have a cranky, clogged colon experience gas, bloating, belching, menstrual prostate problems, foggy thinking, lethargy, fatigue, tiredness, abdominal pain, disease, discomfort. When colons are sluggish, when colons are sluggish or clogged, people experience those things. We may have one bowel movement a day, yet have toxic plaque build up, causing a slowing of complete elimination of waste that compromises our immune system. The happy colon people report relief from asthma, allergies, arthritis, low sex drive, overweight, underweight, fatigue, hyperactivity, headaches, and backaches. Now, I use a system called the Kalima. It was invented by Dr. Victor Irons. He invented it for his colleague, the great natural health pioneer, Dr. Bernard Jensen. This kit that he created is intended for home use. It's a home colon irrigation kit. And 50 years ago, in Minneapolis, I started driving around to people's homes. They would purchase one of these kits and I would deliver it and show them how to set up and do their colon irrigation in their home. The advantage of this is that you can do it every day for an extended period of time. Where if you have to go to a colon hydrotherapist, drive there, pay maybe $80 or more for your treatment, and then drive home, you're not going to get the same benefit as when you were doing it at home. This is a type of yoga, nali yoga. It combines these abdominal exercises with some advanced pranayama. And nali yoga strengthens the abdominal muscles and massages the intestines and organs of the lower abdomen. It regulates blood pressure and has a preventive effect against diabetes. Nali yoga is one of the best exercises for our health due to the stimulation and regulating effect upon the entire digestive and elimination system. Nali yoga massages all of the internal organs in the abdomen and keeps them healthy, helps increase circulation and improve digestion. Is Nali yoga good for constipation? Yes, it has many benefits. It stimulates and cleanses your digestive and elimination systems, the intestines, stomach, pancreas, liver, spleen, bladder, colon, and reproductive organs. It alleviates constipation and ensures smooth bowel movements. Now, this man has been studying and practicing this for years, along with extensive fasting and colon cleansing. And again, the breathing is essential, and it is done on an empty stomach. Now, the Western medical view of this type of yoga is that it's absolutely impossible. And obviously, you can see that it is quite possible to have your shit this together. You might never be able to do it like this guy, but try. Try to take back control of your abdominal muscles and organs. You will find that it will correct any back pain you have. There's a really strong connection between the abdomen and the back. They go together. Okay, the daily fast is as old as the word breakfast, break fast. Okay, here's how you do a daily fast. You are allowing time every day for cleansing by not having breakfast, meaning solid food, until 14 hours have passed since your last meal of solid food. 10 hours a day are for you to nourish with solid foods. The rest of the time, you're cleansing, resting, sleeping, healing, meditating, and ingesting cleansing foods, usually in a liquid form. Now we see intermittent fasting is become a popular thing, and it is the same concept, basically. You will notice that if you look at a breakdown by age, traditional Oriental medicine is the same. It stops at about 55, meaning that a 55-year-old person should be fasting 20 hours a day and eating 4 hours a day. Now, some other considerations around fasting. One is never fast from water. Unless you're on dialysis or your doctor tells you to restrict fluids for some reason. But I do not support any of the popular fasts that the young people are doing that involve fasting from water. Please don't fast from water. In fact, one of the natural health doctors that I worked with in Arkansas, I asked her, what about if you're, living in a toxic environment and there's no clean water and she said it's better to drink the city water than to not get enough water. So when we fast, we simplify. We really should be kind to our digestion and simplify all the time and break up our meals into smaller portions and fewer different kinds of things. Simplifying can mean also eating closer to its natural state. So I brought up food combining. That's an issue to consider. If you want to start with any food combining theory practices, I recommend melons alone and all other fruits alone. You can wait only 20 minutes. You only have to wait 20 minutes after your fruit juice or your fruit appetizer before you can eat something else. pH is something to consider. It goes with like yin and yang. Yin is alkaline. Yang is acidic. So I recommend on year-round daily basis, the first thing I put in my mouth in the morning is lemon water. It has an alkalizing effect, a sanitizing effect on the body. So those are the kinds of things you do during your 14-hour resting from eating in the daily fast. You drink things that sanitize the body. You drink honey and vinegar water to clear your arthritis, things like that. And personalize, always personalize any kind of fast or cleanse you're going to go on, because you know yourself, your preferences, your needs best. I am offering a free 15-minute consultation to help with this for anyone who wants to join us next week on the 3-day liquid cleanse around the mini manlam. Supplements are something to think about. The soil was destroyed in the 1950s. So my entire life, the food has not been as nutrient rich as it had been before. And so I do believe supplementing is necessary. I got into the health, I became a health foodie. I started out in the beauty industry, and I counted calories, and I never thought that I could get enough vitamins in the calories it took to maintain my desired weight. So I have always taken supplements. C and B, I highly recommend. They are the water-soluble vitamins. We have to put C and B in every day because it goes away every day. But when you're fasting, that's a good time to lay off the supplements. Give your liver and body a chance to rest. Variety, the secret to good nutrition. I love the logo that Amber created for our meeting tonight. And you see the rainbow colors. That's how you provide good nutrition for yourself. Eat all the colors. This is the menu that we're going to do next week for one day. And I just want you to see that we will you're not going to be starving. We're going to have a tonic of some kind in between every meal. We're going to have cleansing rituals and cleansing media between meals. Like Dr. Eli said, we don't want you getting the munchies and wondering what to do in between your healthy drinks. So we're going to give you lots to do. So your first meal is going to be a melon juice or simple fruit smoothie. And then we increase in complexity to include your second meal will be a veggie juice. Again, we have some activities and we will be waiting at least an hour before your third meal, which is a blended green smoothie. And we're going to provide recipes for you. Now the blended green smoothie starts to have more ingredients, you see. So that's why it's third. And if we were, well, I'm considering this to be the first really breaking our fast, because we're some of the things that are included in the smoothie are sort of like supplements, but no worries. Again, we have plenty of herbal teas and coconut water between meals, and you can have as much of these meals as you want, but only 1 pint at a time. So if you make and want to consume a quart of the green smoothie, then break it up into 2 meals an hour apart, please. The meal 4 is full blended broccoli soup. Every day we're going to have meal 4 is going to be a simple blended green soup, and it's going to blow your mind how delicious it is. Some of them are just the greens in water, nothing else, and it's just like yum. And let me also mention, when you're fasting, you're not talking when you're eating. You're looking at your food. You're savoring every mouthful. You're swishing it around, mixing it with your saliva. You're not glug, glug, glugging. And finally, the simple meal is the most complex for the digestion system, and that is a root soup. So Amber sent out to the early applicants today my wellness resources, and we will send it out again after the event. And I'm proud of this list. It's got my website. I have a podcast called Star Circle. I have a YouTube channel. I'd love for you to subscribe. I have 3 free natural health articles that are mini books. They're long. I'm going to redo them and put them on the podcast soon, but I'd like to point those out on the on your wellness resource list when you get it. Food for Thought is an article, a book that's out of print, written by a married couple who got divorced. That's how it went out of print. One was a psychiatrist and one was a psychologist. And they wrote this book about the importance of food, mental health. But they go into the greatest detail you can imagine they present food on a continuum, and pH continuum, and 7 is neutral, and that's mother's milk. So they suggest for mental health, we eat the most neutral foods. And as we go to the extremes of acidity or alkalinity, you see behavioral and mental, emotional changes. My wellness prescription for miraculous recovery is a story I wrote after I broke my back about how I combined my things I thought people could do to get in shape and stay in shape, things that I did. For example, I had my waist was like 22 inches and I had a 13-inch scar. I was cut from the belly button around to my back, the spine. And I had a metal thing put in there. And sitting on the toilet to evacuate the bowel was excruciatingly painful. And so for the first month of my recovery, I didn't go full on colonic. I just did, I lived in a place where we had a thing rigged up where I could put a little nozzle on the shower thing and I could squirt some water up my bum, and we had a hole right there so you could eliminate in the shower, and it was cool. And I'm convinced that twice a day little enema every morning when I got up and every night before I went to bed had a tremendous impact, maybe the most important impact to my miraculous recovery, because there was no straining, no pain, and it helped with the pain and sleep, to not have any old hard poop sitting in there next to this area that I was trying to heal. The third of the articles is classic Dr. Jensen, how to clean this on a cellular level through the colon. Now, many of the things I've shared are on the are also on the list, but I just wanted to mention that any books from Dr. Jensen, Dr. Norman Walker was the first one to introduce juicing. Again, these are 150 years ago. Dr. Victor Irons, the inventor of the Kalima board. Dr. Hulda Clark. Now, she and Dr. Beck, I think it's important for you to check them out. They're not necessarily health foodies, they're doctors. Dr. Hulda Clark is a parasitologist. She has books called A Cure for All Diseases, The Cure for Cancer, The Cure for AIDS. And her thing is, it's all about parasites. And that's not that far away from what we're talking about, because once you're full of catarrh and eating junk food, well, the parasites are thriving. You aren't, but the parasites love that. Dr. Beck's protocol is a cancer cure therapy that includes the colloidal silver, the ozone water, and electromagnetic pulsing of the blood. Tools for Health, the best alternative health resource. You can get Dr. Clark's books, Dr. Robert Beck's stuff there, and more. I also want to refer you to Dr. Mercola. He has an herbal academy and he sends out an excellent newsletter. You can sign up, and his whole deal is take control of your health. And the last person on my list, I recommend any book by Susan Weed. She is natural health, herbal medicine, and spiritual healing, the wise woman way. I'm just going to close this part by saying, manifesting as the goddess, we receive these gifts as a sacred offering, celebrating our interconnectedness with all of life. May they nourish us and strengthen us, that we may be capable of bringing benefit to all we touch. Om Ah Hum. Back to you, Amber.
Thank you, Dr. Jude. You're awesome. I love you. She's right over there. I'm trying not to look. It's very hard. We giggled so much last night when we were practicing, but I'm trying to be proper, which I'm not. So this is my attempt. So I want to say I really encourage all of you to participate in the 3-day cleanse next week if it's right for you. And you can join our WhatsApp support group. And this is the third of the 3 jewels, of course. And this type of community support can be so profound for so many people. And I really hope you join. So I want to just do a few upcoming announcements, and then we're going to do a Q&A if people have any. If not, we will say goodnight. So, of course, we hope you'll join the Liquid Cleanse next week. It's March 17th to 19th, Thursday to Saturday. And this will run in conjunction with our 24-hour Green Tara Mini Malnum Prayer Festival. Woo, that's a mouthful. So this prayer festival is running from Friday, the 18th, from 5 p.m. Eastern through 5 p.m. on Saturday, March 19th. And it will open and close with dance pujas. And please email me if you would like to participate in either or both events, or someone who may know. And as Dr. Jude mentioned, for those who want to cleanse with us next week, you will get a free 15-minute consultation with her, which is awesome, and could be the start of something big. And she can help you personalize the 3-day menu, as she said, personalize, personalize, personalize. So just tweak it to be sure that it works for you if you have any questions or conditions you want to discuss. So, and then June 9th through 13th, I was going to have Stephanie Frank unmute and introduce herself, but it is late, so I'm just going to talk a little. So June 9th through 13th, we will be co-hosting a wonderful in-person event at SCF Nest in Woodstock, New York. And it's so cool because our teachers, our Tara Datu teachers, Pramadasra and Muri Daikini, they will come in from Brazil. We'll have an in-person retreat. And we will do a mandala weekend, which is incredibly exciting to do at the Nest. And on Thursday night, the 9th, we will do a Dances of Universal Peace teaching. We're not sure if it's the afternoon or the night on Thursday the 9th. We're getting clarity on that. So, and then also on Monday, the 13th, we will have a Medicine Buddha teaching. So you can drop in for the teachings to bookend. You can do all of it, or you can do the mandala. And then there will also be a public offering of the mandala. So that will be both virtual and in person. So that's a little nutshell. Please email Stephanie or myself if you do have questions, and we'll be sending lots of promotion. So I hope we provided some real information and opportunities and inspiration. And I want to thank Dr. Jude again, Dr. Eli Morales, for sharing their wisdom, and Noelle, our rock star. Thank you so much. It was really a Herculean effort, I want to say. The Tara Datu East Coast Practice Sangha, the leaders all promoted and helped organize this. And then, of course, I recruited Dr. Jude, and she just said, yes, I would be thrilled to. And we're just having the best time down here. So thank you all. It's been really fun. And please get in contact with us if you want more information. And love to all of you. Good night. Thank you.